95% of you should never sell a low ticket digital product online. That being said, in this video, I'm going to walk you through our low ticket strategy that has generated us over $8 million in sales from one funnel and currently brings in about $100,000 a month in recurring revenue. If you don't know who I am, my name is Ravi Abuvala. I'm the founder of Scaling with Systems. We build custom end-to-end done-for-you marketing systems for our clients in 7 days or less. We work with some of the largest names in our industry, and we're on a mission to build a business that serves you instead of you serving it. So what is a low ticket product and why are so many people attracted to it? Well, the best way I can describe it to you, it's kind of like whenever you are checking out at a grocery store and you see all of those candies and gums right at the checkout counter. That's not a coincidence. Those are what are known as impulse buys because they're only $1, $2, $3, maybe the highest stuff there is $5. And so in relation to what else you're buying there, like $20, $50, maybe $100, $200 worth of groceries, if you want to add on an extra $1 or $3 candy bar or piece of gum, it's not that big of a deal. So you just grab it, you throw it to the checkout person. Maybe you don't throw it at them, but you throw it on the checkout counter and you buy it and you don't really think about it. So that's an impulse buy. And that's the appeal of a low ticket product. It's that, okay, cool, I can sell something that's so low price, $7, $37, $97, $97 a month, that you're not really going to have to do a lot of selling behind it. It's very easy to just throw up an ad or to post something on your social media or to do a blast to your audience to say, hey, here's this thing I'm selling for $47. You guys should get it. And you're probably going to get a lot of buyers. You're going to get a lot of people that pick it up because in relation to what they could also buy elsewhere, $7 or $37 or $47 is not a lot of money. And the delineation that I've learned here between low ticket and what is known as high ticket is a $2,000 price point. Okay. And this is why you see a lot of people selling like courses online that sell webinars. Almost, I'd say 98% of them, they sell at the $1,997 price point because that keeps them in that low ticket category on the bottom over here. Because when you have a low ticket category, it's still an impulse buy, right? You can still make a sale without ever speaking to a salesperson, without having to go talk to your wife, your cousin, your aunt, your uncle, without, having to really do a lot of thinking about it. You can do that underneath the $2,000 price point. Above the $200,000 price point, that's where you start to get into what a lot of people call high ticket, right? And so this is when you're buying stuff for $4,000, $6,000, $10,000, $20,000, $100,000. So the reason why a lot of people are drawn to low ticket is because low ticket is so easy to set up, so easy to sell, and you can make a lot of sales with it. And you think your dopamine hits are going off, your Stripe account's going, you're like, oh wow, I'm selling these $7 products. That's really, really great. But there are a few different problems with low ticket. The first problem is that low ticket products are just that. They're low ticket, meaning that if your goal is to make $10,000 a month, then you would need 1,000 people to buy a $10 product in order to make $10,000 a month. And what most people don't realize is that a typical low ticket sales page will convert at, let's say, 2 to 3%. So if you need 1,000 people to buy, you're probably going to need 50,000 people to visit that sales page. And that's not cheap. Most people don't have that size of an audience. So you need 50,000 people just to visit your sales page, just so you can make $10,000. And the next month you have to get another 50,000 people to visit your sales page. Now compare that to high ticket, where when you're dealing with high ticket products, you could just sell one product at $10,000 and you only had to speak with maybe 10 people to sell that one product. So ironically, in the very beginning, the appeal of low ticket being that you don't have to get on sales calls or talk to a lot of people, you think it's going to be easier to sell. But if you actually do the math, it ends up being a lot more work than it would be if you just sold one high ticket product. Now, the second reason I don't love low ticket products is because it's actually pretty messy or complicated to set up. So let me walk you through an example of a typical high ticket product. So in a high ticket product, you're typically getting someone's attention either through an ad or through social media or something like that. And then you're just saying, hey, send me a message on Instagram or watch this quick video of me describing how I can help you, and then book a call to speak with me or my team, and we'll get on a call and see if you're a good fit, right? So it's pretty simple. You don't need a lot of complexity, a lot of sales copy, because you're asking someone to get on a sales call. And in reality, reality, it's on this sales call that you're doing all of the kind of difficult, heavy lifting. You're understanding where that person's at. You're kind of drawing out a custom roadmap of what it would look like to work with you. You're handling any of their objections, or you're collecting the payment. And so on that call, you have a lot of wiggle room, right? Even if somebody comes in, you have the worst sales funnel, the worst ads, the worst copy, whatever else it is. If they come in on that call, even if they have a pulse and they're somewhat lukewarm, you could probably still close them on something that was $2,000, $3,000, assuming that you're a half decent salesperson, which almost everybody is. Now, take that and compare it to in a low ticket product. What typically has to happen is you have to write an entire video sales letter page. So you have a video up top, and then you have all the sales copy down here, and then you have a button on the bottom. And what most low ticket product will have is what's known as upsells or downsells, which I'm going to talk about a funnel structure here in a moment. And so you have a second page over here, and then you have another page over here, and all of this stuff on every one of these pages has to be dialed. It has to be speaking directly to their pain points, directly to their desires. It has no room for error, because if you don't handle whatever that person's thinking of in their mind, well, they don't have someone they can chat to and handle their objection with them live, and so they're just going to bounce off that page. And then eventually they're going to buy the product or service, which is fine. That's great, but it just requires so much more work to get it set up, and you have so less of a margin of error. And the final reason why I don't love low ticket products is because of the amount of work in the fulfillments, right? And most people think, okay, well, if I sell a digital product, it's not that big of a deal. I'm not going to have to do any work involved in it, and it's going to be way less work than if I was selling something high ticket and I was doing something for my clients. And you could be right, but I can tell you, after selling thousands and thousands of low ticket products, here's typically what happens. When you sell low ticket products, you're going to have a lot more communication than you did previously. Because remember, we're having to sell 1,000 people more than what we did previously to get to $10,000 a month. So if you're dealing with 1,000 people, even if only 10% of them send you a message every single week or have a question in your email or in your community, that's 100 questions get asked every single week. And we took our support team when we started scaling our low ticket product from 1 people to 6 people just because of the sheer amount of volume of tickets that were coming in. More important than that is that if you have a refund policy, which you're almost always going to have on a low ticket product, then you're going to have a lot of refunds and people asking to request refunds, because it's just as easy to impulse buy as it is to impulse get rid of it. They're like, oh, you know what? This isn't that helpful. I want my $20 back, $30, $40 back. So now that starts hurting your merchant processor, because now you're dealing with a lot of refunds. And then on top of that, you deal with chargebacks. So a lot of times it's easier for somebody to literally go to their bank and just click charge back than it would be for them to send you an email, or they're embarrassed to send you an email or something like that. So even the best low ticket products in the world will see more chargebacks than if you had sold something high ticket. And I actually got into a little bit of a hairy situation about 2 years ago. We were running a lot of volume on our low ticket products, and that was fine for a while because we were obviously making a lot of money for it. But then eventually I was like, okay, I don't really love this low ticket product thing, so I shut it down. But the problem was, just that last month, we had sold a few thousand people into that low ticket product. So when I shut down the low ticket products, the next month, when I had the chargebacks from the previous month from all of the people that didn't want to email us, we had a no questions asked 30-day money back guarantee, but people would just rather charge back rather than email us. When they did that, now my chargeback rate ratio on my merchant processor was going higher, because I didn't have all those new low ticket purchasers to offset the previous low ticket purchasers. And so I actually had Stripe, for the first time in 5 years of business, hold my funds, hundreds of thousands of dollars, for 21 days while they investigated, and I had to send all these reports and everything in. And the only thing that had changed this entire time was that after I had built up what was essentially this monster of a low ticket system, when I finally decided to shut it off, the chargebacks that we had coming in put us essentially out of whack with Stripe's, like, whatever their threshold is for chargebacks. And that's an extreme example for a lot of people here, but you have to take the extreme whenever you're doing the math on something. Whenever you're thinking, I want to sell low ticket products, well, you're not going to want to sell and make $100 a month in low ticket products. So you might as well do the math of what the extreme looks like at selling 3,000 or 5,000 or 10,000 low ticket products a month. And then you can actually see whether it's worth your time or not. And the final reason why I don't love low ticket products is that if you're not careful, it can cannibalize your chance at creating a high ticket product later on. What do I mean by this? Well, what most people do is they create a low ticket product because they watch a YouTube video or a guru or someone tells them to do it, or they saw it on an Instagram reel, and they just pour their heart and soul into the entire thing. So they offer all this additional coaching and onboarding and all these levels of support, and they give away the entire farm inside that one low ticket product. But what I'm going to cover here in a moment when I transition to when you would want to use a low ticket product, what happens is that you're eventually, anybody that sells a low ticket product, anybody that's trying to make a decent amount of money, millions of dollars a year, you have to attach on some kind of high ticket back end to it. It's absolutely necessary. And so when you try to go attached on that high ticket backend, the problem is that you have given away the entire farm on the front end. You have onboarding calls, coaching calls, you have all of the course content that you've ever created. You have like everything that they could ever need. And so what could you possibly offer them in a high ticket product that they couldn't just get from whatever they bought in the low ticket? And so when you try to come out and say, hey, here's this thing for $3,000, $5,000, $10,000, people are going to be like, oh, you know, I'm probably just going to stay with this like $97 thing that I bought from you that covers everything that I have. And I've done this multiple times. That's why I made this video, is because when I originally created one of my first low ticket products for a portfolio company, the first version of it, very simple. Literally, the low ticket product they bought, it was just one video that they were buying for that low ticket product. And we had an okay refund rate. It was like 6%, which is a little high, but I was okay with it because overall we had over a 3x return on our ad spend. And we were really, really scaling it. And then I had read Alex Hormozi's $100 million offers, and I was like, oh, you know what? I got to make this product way better, way, way, way better than what it is right now. So I literally invested and poured my heart and soul into that thing. And I took all the stuff that was in the high ticket and I put like 50% of it into the low ticket. But the problem that we realized, because we track our data pretty meticulously, is that all of a sudden our sales cycles started extending out. All of a sudden we had a lower ascension rate from our low ticket to the high ticket. All of a sudden people weren't buying the stuff on the back end. And when I spoke to the sales team on it, they were telling me that everybody said almost the exact same thing. Yeah, this makes sense, but I'm going to finish everything that Ravi has inside this product before I go in and join the high ticket program. And it became abundantly clear that I had put too much value in the low ticket product. And most people are like, you could never put too much value, give away the farm. You can put too much value if you plan on having a high ticket product or service on the back end. And it really hurt and cannibalized our business. And then the second example was when I first launched our membership site scaling school that we have right now. We have over 1,000 people in it. I first launched it and we had coaching calls, we had onboarding calls, we had all this stuff inside of there. And my hope was that people would, get it, see the value, and ascend into the high ticket. And the exact same thing happened. It wasn't a very high ascension rate. People weren't buying. People were getting on the call and saying, oh, there's so much value in here. Let me keep on enjoying this. And so I shut it down and then I repackaged it and I relaunched it. And now in Q2 of this year, 38% of our high ticket sales came from our membership site scaling school. And the best part is that we're still generating $100,000 a month in recurring revenue from that membership site, plus the high ticket sales we have on the back end. And that's because I removed the onboarding calls, I removed the coaching calls, I implemented a credit system. I came at it with a lot more intentionality, right? And that's kind of the lesson of this last piece before I jump into the good stuff of low ticket, is that if you are going to do a low ticket, come at it with intentionality. Create what I like to call a product suite. So this is something that I've created for a few of our clients before, where you're literally writing out what are the different pieces of, or what are the different products that you have. So the first is going to be content. So I'll write content right here. So content. And a lot of people don't realize that your online content is a product. People are judging you by your content. And so what do they get? They get zero support from you. They don't get any onboarding calls from you, blah, 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 blah. And then the next you have is your low ticket products. Let's say this is $97, right? And then what do they get? They get this, they get this. Then the next thing you have is your middle ticket product. That's $4,997. And they get this, this, this. And then the next thing you have is your $10,000 product, right? So $9,997. And they get this, 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 this. And so when you create a product suite first, before you create the low ticket product, then you can make a super natural growth or ascension for somebody who comes in and buys your low ticket and goes to the high ticket. Okay, so with all of that out of the way, now let's talk about when would you want to use a low ticket product and how to use a low ticket product and what would the funnel look like. Now, there's really one main reason why I personally love low ticket products, and it has 3 words: product led growth. Okay? That is the main thing you're looking for with a low ticket product. It's not to become a millionaire off the low ticket product. It is to have the low ticket product lead people into your back end high ticket products. And product led growth is opposed, in opposition, it's dichotomous with what 99% of businesses have, which is sales led growth. Okay? And so what are the differences? Well, product led growth is when somebody says, oh, interesting, I would maybe want to work with Ravi Abuvala at Scaling with Systems. Let me watch some of his YouTube content. So they watch a few of my YouTube videos and they're like, wow, this is pretty good. And then they say, you know what, let me buy his membership site, Scaling School, because he's a bunch of free value in there. So then they go and they buy my $97 a month membership sites and they're inside Scaling School. And then they're getting a lot of value out of Scaling School. And inside Scaling School, there's a link where people can book a call and buy our high ticket stuff. And so let's say they come in here and they buy a high ticket product at $10,000. Well, nobody's spoken to this person at this point. They've literally just watched my YouTube video, bought my low ticket product, and then bought my high ticket products. And they only spoke to a salesperson going from the low ticket to the high ticket. So this is product led growth. Somebody is able to experience what it's like to work with you before they've really paid you a whole lot of money, right? $97 a month feels like it's virtually free, like kind of an impulse buy, compared to if my other products are $10,000, $20,000, $50,000, et cetera, et cetera. Now, compare that to what most people do, which is sales-led growth, which is they run an ad online and they say like, hey, if you want this thing here, I guarantee we'll do this thing or your money back. They go and they book a call on the calendar. And then in order to actually get and experience what it's like to get that thing, then they speak with a sales rep on the phone and they have to pay the $10,000 in order to even see what it's like to work with that person. That's what's known as sales-led growth, right? So that's not as leveraged. That's not as optimized because you have to keep on hiring more salespeople and keep on running more ads in order to scale it. Now, sales-led growth isn't terrible. We even do sales-led growth, but if you can incorporate elements of product-led growth into sales-led growth, well, then you have a really leveraged company. That's how you have one salesperson bringing in $350,000 a month in cash, like our salespeople do, okay? So the main reason why you would like low-ticket products, if I had to sum it down, is because it creates that product-led growth for people to test out your stuff before they buy your high-ticket stuff, okay? But you have to do it correctly. Like I said a moment ago, you don't want to cannibalize your stuff. The other thing is that a lot of people are against low ticket products because they say, well, let me give everything away for free, right? And you're not wrong. I did that for years. I just created YouTube content. I have over 1,100 videos on YouTube. I have 85,000 subscribers there. So I've given away stuff for free for a very long time. But what happens is that you essentially just have 2 stages for your sales team to pull from. Either somebody who's totally free, they're getting lead magnets for free, they've watched your YouTube videos, blah, 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 or they've spent $10,000 with you. And so the problem with this, if I were to draw this out, is that there's just literally no in between, right? So let's just say here is the YouTube video and here is $10,000, right? So what happens is that this little bridge right here, this gap in between this 2 areas is massive. It's huge. It's tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands or millions of people. And so how do you differentiate the people that are actually potentially interested versus those that are just fine watching videos that are never going to buy from you ever? Because that's the case. The majority of people are never, ever going to buy from you. So what if you could have a little in between where you could literally say, okay, all these people watch it for free, but then the people that are a little bit more serious, here's this $97 product. And so let's say this number here is, just for easy numbers, we'll say 100,000 people. Well, then maybe only 1,000 people actually buy this $97 products. And then you can figure out those that buy the $97 product, 100 are going to buy the 10,000. And so now you can focus your time, energy, and efforts on that sales-led growth on this $97 product versus calling all of the opt-ins and all of the people that are lead magnets with you, the 100,000 people, and you have no ability to kind of filter out who has intentionality, who wants to buy, and who doesn't. And the final reason why I think it would be valuable for you to consider a low-ticket product would be if you were spending a lot of money on ads and you wanted to have a shorter cash cycle. Essentially, what that means is that back when I was running one of my portfolio companies where we really scaled a low ticket product in, what would happen is we would be spending about $400,000 a month in a call funnel. So this is like running ads to somebody to pick up the phone and call us after they watch the video sales letter. That sales-led growth thing that I talked about earlier, because like I said, I think every business should start that way for all the reasons I talked about. So even we started like that. But the problem was that our average sales cycle was about 14 days. So I would spend $400,000 a month is what's like $12,000 a day, something like that. I don't know the exact math, but let's say it's $12,000, right? So I would spend $12,000 on the first day, right? So we'll say this is day one, okay? I'll spend $12,000 and then I wouldn't see that money back in my bank account until the second day, third day, fourth day, fifth day, sixth day, seventh day, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And every day I have $12,000 spent, $12,000 spent, $12,000 spent, $12,000 spent, $12,000 spent, $12,000. And then finally on this last day, day 12, I see my return on investment. I get back all that money I'd spent in the last 12 days, plus some. Obviously, my return on investment would be like, depending on my ROAS, 2x, 3x, 4x, 5x. And so in this example here, I'd be outlaying tens of thousands, over $100,000 in cash before I ever even saw a penny back. And it's a little bit stressful when you're doing that at a high scale. You're kind of freaking out. I check my bank account every day and I would just see the money leaving my account every single day. And so it kind of always put me in this high stress mode. But in a low ticket product, what happens is you spend $12,000 and you could make back, let's say $8,000 that same day in the low ticket products. Now, some people are able to spend $12,000 and make $12,000 back or even be profitable. And I'm going to talk about the funnel structure here in a little bit, but it's pretty hard. It's pretty rare. The best that we ever got at scale was a 0.8x same day return on ad spend. So we spent $100, we'd get $80 back. And that's like, I mean, we had the best of the best working on this funnel. Once again, you can do it, but as you scale your ads, it's going to go lower anyway. So let's say you get $8,000 back. So that means there's really only a $4,000 difference. So then you're only losing $4,000 this day and then $4,000 in this day. So even though you're spending $12,000, you're only really losing $4,000 until day 12 happens again. And now you're getting all that high ticket cash that's coming in. And so you're even more profitable than you were previously. So it definitely helps whenever you're really outlaying a lot of cash and ad spend to have that low ticket product and kind of earn you that money back. Now, as you've heard in all these examples here, the only time these low ticket products really come into play is when you're really trying to achieve massive scale, which is why I have some clients come to us and like, hey, I want to build a low ticket funnel and they're at $20,000 a month. Oh, I want to start a school group. I want to start a membership site. I'm at $15,000 a month. I'm like, no. That stuff only makes sense when you're at hundreds of thousands of dollars a month, maybe even $1 million a month. Anything below that, and you're just chasing a shiny object because of all the things I talked about in the very beginning, all of the problems, the downsides that come with low ticket products that nobody talks about. I know this is a lot. So if you just want my team to build for you a totally custom, done for you end-to-end marketing system in your business in the next 7 days that can generate you leads, calls, and sales so you can scale, make sure you go down below and book a call to speak with myself or one of our team members today. So at this point, you've heard all of my advice, the good stuff, the bad stuff about low ticket products. And let's just say you want to create one or you're going to create one. Let me walk you through the exact funnel structure that we use and that we would set up for somebody if we did work with them. So first and foremost, you have your main sales page right here, right? And this is going to be typically a video sales letter at the top, a bunch of sales copy below it, and then you have a checkout button or a checkout form on that page. This is where you send people directly to in the very beginning. You're going to say, hey, buy this thing from me. It's only going to be X amount of money. This is typically going to be anything from $7 to $97. Fun fact, inside of Scaling School, our membership site, we have something that we give to every member called Split Test Secrets. And it's where my marketing director shares a new split test that we ran, because we run some all the time, every 2 weeks, and we reveal all of the lessons that we learned. And so one of the tests that we did is that we have a low ticket product that we were selling for $37, and we tried to sell it for $7. And our idea was that if we sell it for $7, the cost per acquisition is going to be lower, and so we'll get more customers, and we can send them in a higher ticket stuff later, et cetera, et cetera. But the problem was that what we learned was, number one, our conversion rate was not higher, our cost per acquisition was not lower, so a lower price point didn't equal necessarily more sales. But what definitely happened was our average order value, which is how much money someone spent with us whenever they visited that page and bought something, was significantly lower, right? So then we decided, you know what, let's just keep it at $37. So this is going to be a crapshoot. Don't worry too much about how much it should be. But remember, you kind of want to make it that impulse buy. So anything below 40 is a really good first starting point. Now, the next thing that you're going to want is what are called order bumps. So on this same sales page, you're going to have one, possibly two order bumps where you're going to sell something for anywhere from $7 to all the way up to $97. What I've seen that works really well is $37 on the front end and $97 in the order bump. And I know it's weird. An order bump is most typically lower than the price of the original product. But for some reason, since I started ever running low ticket funnels, we've always found a higher conversion percentage or a higher average order value when we put a higher ticket product as the order bump. So an order bump is whenever you're checking out somewhere and you're about to pay, and it says, oh wait, before you go, get this extra thing right here before you've actually paid. That's called an order bump. Going back to the grocery analogy, it's a great example would be like when you're checking out and someone's like, would you like to donate $1 to the St. Jude's Fund or something like that? Then, so you haven't paid yet, and they can just add it to the total right there. And at the end, you're like, well, you know what? Let me do it. I want to be a nice person. And so they add the dollar to your order. That's the example of an order bump. So you almost always want to have a form of an order bump here. If you have to have a digital product, by all means, please have an order bump, because you're immediately going to make more money than you were previously. Now, after they purchase, another mistake a lot of people do is they say, okay, great, here's the product, here's the thing that you bought, go ahead and get it right away. And the problem with that is you're doing what's known in the marketing world is closing the loop, okay? And you literally never want to close a loop in the marketing world. Never, ever, never close a loop. Ever, 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 ever. Imagine, here's a loop, never close it, okay? Because anytime in the journey you close the loop, then the person has got everything they ever need and they'll never buy anything from you. So that's, even if you're selling a high ticket product or service and you're doing a subscription or you're whatever else it is, you never want to say, okay, great, buy this thing. It's everything you've ever needed. Don't worry about it, because now you're cannibalizing your chance to send them on the back end, sell them a higher ticket product, or to buy them, have them stay for month 2, month 3, month 4, month 5. So you never close the loop. And some people in the comments are going to go, Ravi, like that's so bad. You're always selling something to somebody. This is business, okay? If you don't like it, then don't watch this video. And by the way, people are voting with their wallets. I'm not forcing people at gunpoint to buy my stuff. So your stuff has to be good, but there is a psychology to it as well, where you're not saying this is everything you need. When you're selling a high-ticket product, you say, great, this is what you're going to need at this stage, but in about 4 months, we're going to talk about this next thing here, which is going to help you cover these things there. And so you're opening that loop even right when they're buying the front-end product. So when they buy the thing right away, you're going to keep the loop open, and you're going to create what's known as a one-time offer. And so at the top of a one-time offer sales page, you're going to say something like, wait, your order is not complete. You're going to put that at the top of the page right here. And then it's going to be another video sales letter, and it's going to be another sales page, right? So it's very similar to the first sales page. And here you're typically going to sell something from $97 all the way up to, I've seen people sell stuff for $997, okay? And so this is what's known as a one-time offer. So the only time they can see that page, that second page, is after they've bought the first thing there. And the nice thing is that most funnel softwares, go high level, ClickFunnels, any of them, they have a feature called a one-click upsell. So what this means is that if somebody buys this first thing for $7 to $97, their credit card information is stored in the system, and they just have to click one button on this page to buy something for another $197 or $200 or $400 or $1,000, right? So it makes it very easy. You can have a very high conversion rate, and I'll talk about all the conversion rates here in a moment. And so this is a way that you can increase your average order value, because let's say, for example, you get 20% of people to take you up on a $997 offer. Well, now you've just increased the amount of money that somebody pays you by $200 on average per person, okay? So if someone over here buys something for $7, let's say on this first one here, and then you don't have an order bump or a one-time offer, then all you're getting is $7. But if you have an order bump and let's say 10% of people get the 97, so we'll put 10% here, then your $7 now becomes, I'm doing super easy math here, let's say $17. And then if 20% of people get this one-time offer right here, then your $17 becomes $217. So remember, this is the same one person that has bought your product. Instead of just spending $7, they've now spent $217. And I can tell you, from someone who sells low ticket products both in ads and organically, that's awesome, right? Because for us, here's a fun stat that I don't share with a lot of people. Our average order value for a membership site is about $320, okay? So for someone to buy something for $97 a month from us, we make $320 every single time. So imagine if I didn't have the order bumps and the upsells, et cetera, I would just be making $97 a month. But now when someone goes to pay $97, they end up paying $320, not including month 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, okay? So 10% order bump conversion rate, 20% on this what's known as a one-time offer. Well, at this point, you can split your funnel into two different areas. Okay, so the first is what's known as a DOTO or a downsell, and this would be somebody went to this one-time offer page and they said, you know what, I don't want to buy this. That's too rich for my blood. I'd rather pass, et cetera, et cetera. And so they click no. And so then at that point, you say, hey, I totally get it. You said no. I just wanted to make sure you totally understand that you can never buy this anywhere other than this page right here. And I know a lot of people think that $997 is a lot of money. So what I've decided to do is I'm offering you a chance here to buy it for 2 payments of $497. Right? And so now they're like, oh, wow, now it's only $497. I have to pay the other $497 in 30 days. And especially if maybe this thing I'm buying helps me make more money, now it becomes justifiable. Now it's like, oh, I can actually buy that. And so you might have what ends up to be an additional 10% take rate on this additional page here for 2 payments of $497. Okay, we'll put that right there. And so that helps you avoid people that say no to this first thing, to this first one-time offer. It helps you recuperate even more of that. But then let's say some people do say yes to it. Well, then what do you do there? Do you send them on their merry way? Well, you could, absolutely. But the other thing you could do is test out selling an additional thing as well. So then you say, wait, you're not done yet. What if you bought this additional thing here that helps you even more, and this thing is going to be even more than what the thing was here? So let's say this one is $1,000 to $2,000. Okay, and now we're starting to talk about some real cheddar cheese here, okay? But all being said, let's say only 3% of people buy the thing for, let's say we put it at $1,000. Well, what is $1,000 times 3? $30. Now you've just added another $30. So it goes 217 plus 30 is 247. So now you just turn this into 247 just by having another digital product that was $1,000 on this additional page here, right? On this 3% page. So someone came in for $7 and they're leaving and you're making $247. Okay, that is the power of a low ticket funnel when it's done correctly, not when it's just like, oh, here's the $7 thing, here you go, you have it and you're done with it. Okay, now this is okay, this is fine. You know, in truth, every day we get about like 5 or 6 people to join Scaling School organically without our paid ads, and so that's like $1,500 that I'm making for new people coming in every day because I have these set up, which is really great. I love it. I'm not complaining. I love my Scaling School members. If you're in Scaling School, thank you so much. But that's not where it ends, right? Because I'm not going to make the money that I want to make making $1,500 a day. Okay, it's decent money, but it's really not enough. So what do we do at this point? Well, the final page in your funnel is going to be what's known as a thank you page. Okay, and on this thank you page, you're essentially going to say, hey, thanks so much for buying this thing. Everything's going to be on the way to your email here in a moment. But first, why don't you book an implementation call, an onboarding call, book a client success call, and you put a calendar down below it. And what that will do is that will send them to a call with somebody in your team where you actually offer an onboarding call. You actually give them value. Don't try to sell them right away. But what it can become is essentially a triage call or a discovery call for a sales call, okay? So I cannot stress this enough. You're not going to take them directly from the low ticket product into, okay, buy this thing right away. You're going to take them on what's known as a discovery call first, and then a certain percentage of those people, let's say, I don't know, 20 to 50%, so we'll say 30% of people, At the very end of the discovery call, you say, great, you have everything you need? Yeah, I'm good to go. Hey, based on everything you're saying here, would you like to see faster results in less time, blah, blah, blah? Yeah, okay, well, what if we could hop on a call and I could show you how we do all these things for you or your money back? Okay, sure, I'd be open to that. And then you book them a sales call. So it's not aggressive. You're not forcing people on this call. 70% of people aren't going to take it, but then those 30% of people that do take it, they're going to get on the sales call, and then you close 20% of those people into something that's $10,000, okay? Let's say 100% of people that buy your low ticket product book this discovery call right here, 30% of people book the sales call, and 20% of the people buy. Well, then you're essentially going to figure out what is 20% of 30%. So 0.3 times 0.2 is 0.06% of people that book a call buy something for $10,000. So then you multiply $10,000 times 0.06 and you get $600. So now you add that $600 to that original $247 for everybody that buys from you, and you get $847 because you have the high ticket here. It is very possible for you to scale a campaign if every single time someone buys something from you, they buy one of these low ticket things for $37, you're making a total of $847 because your cost per acquisition could be $200, $250, and you're still going to make a 3, maybe even a 4 times return on investment once they buy that high ticket cash from you. But if you didn't have that high ticket from you, then you'd be making $247 and you'd be maybe getting someone to buy it through Facebook ads for $250 or $220. So your spread is so thin, and that's why you need some kind of mechanism on the back end. And then of course you can have a bunch of other stuff, like you can have underneath the course modules inside of your low ticket product or whatever else it is, you could have links that also lead to the discovery call. You could have a text message sequence, right? That I'll try to draw a phone real quick here. That's my best impression of a phone. That also sends them to the discovery call. You could even have an email sequence that also sends them to the discovery call. So maybe the people that are on the discovery call, the volume is going to increase, and so then you can book a sales call. You can even have, let's say, appointment setters calling them and outbound dialing them, and they're trying to get them to that sales call. And now instead of 30% of people, you get 40% of people. So, then that number, $600, increases too. So that's where a low ticket product would go. But do you see, look at how complicated this is. Look at how much work this would be needed. And even if you did all this without the high ticket, like I told you a second ago, you'd be maybe netting $10 a person, okay? And then you have all that, email support back and forth, and this is before refunds and chargebacks and all that stuff, right? And so is that worth it? I don't know. Only for me, it would be worth it if I was really trying to rapidly scale and I was trying to liquidate my ad spend as much as possible, or secondary, if I had a decent organic audience size and I had a product that really matched that organic audience, then that'd be another really easy way for me to make some money. Like I said, we make about $1,500 a day just from our organic sales from scaling school, not including the recurring stuff on top of it. And so that allows me to spend that money on myself, or I invest it back into my team or into my company. If all this does seem complicated for you, but you do want to scale your business, I'd recommend going below and booking a call to speak with myself or my team, where we can show you how we will build a custom end-to-end, totally done for you marketing system in your business in the next 7 days.